overlooking the Taal volcano in the Philippines. Welcome to the GCN show.
Welcome to the GCN show.
Yeah, coming up this week, why less is more. We're going anti-ultra endurance and looking at why short and sweet can be a bit of a treat.
We've also got a visually impaired rider who's looking to beat one of Mark Beaumont's world records, a 6,000-mile penny farthing ride, which is making you wince, isn't it? And the real reason why I was seen wearing socks with no shoes on the Breakaway show last week. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that wheel changes turned into a test of ultra endurance at the Benelux Tour yesterday.
Yeah, this is Remco Evenepoel waiting for a wheel change, having broken a number of spokes on his front wheel, and then the neutral service came, and then they were trying to fix the wrong wheel, and then they put ages spending to put in the right wheel.
It took a long time. In fact, it was almost a minute and a half before Remco Evenepoel was back on his bike. We also learnt this week that Zwift Academy winner Jay Vine is the real deal. So he has been competing at his first Grand Tour for Alpes in Phoenix and got a third place on a stage of La Vuelta last week, despite this.
Too close to the vehicle. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was horrible.
Nice.
Ouch. I mean, I don't know how he got up from that and then still try and fight for the win.
It was quite incredible.
It's insane, isn't it? And finally, this week, we learned that nights are drawing in.
In the Northern Hemisphere, at least they are, aren't they? Yeah, it doesn't matter how long you have lived on planet Earth. For some reason, it always still seems to be a surprise, doesn't it? That it's getting dark earlier than it was a few weeks ago. Every single year, I exclaim to Lorraine, "Ooh, it's getting dark early, isn't it?" Like it's some sort of major surprise or brand new phenomenon.
I mean, it's the same thing, isn't it? We go, "Ooh, there's a bit of a chill in the air, isn't there?"
Yeah, every year.
Every year. And we're almost in September and summer is almost over.
Exactly, so it's going to get chillier and it's going to get darker. Now, traditionally, the winter time was when we'd all be heading out for our long rides and endurance training, getting the base miles in to prepare us for the season that is still to come. But the more I think about it, the more bizarre and ridiculous that concept seems. Not base miles themselves, because I'm sure there's science to back up the benefits of back-to-back endurance rides, but the sheer fact that we spend hours and hours on the bike when it is cold, dark and wet, and less time on the bike doing high intensity intervals when it's hot and sunny in the summer.
I gotta say, when you put it like that, it does seem a bit ridiculous, doesn't it? And I guess the good news is, having decided that less is more, then, well, shorter is better.
Well, we think so.
Yeah.
That could be your life motto as well. Less is more, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to completely crack you with short, intense rides from
Now
now
this,
on.
I can't wait for.
In many ways, though, that's the whole point. Why do you want to get anywhere near to the point of cracking on the bike? What's the point of it?
Well, I've got to say, I do love the challenge. I like pushing myself beyond the limit, and I feel like ultra endurance just does that for me. So you're going to have to do a little bit more to try and persuade me.
Right, well, I'm going to do that right now, and you'll be convinced by the end of my argument. Firstly, you've been doing most of your challenges in the summer, Hank, haven't you? So that's fine. My gripe really is about having to do longer rides when the conditions are at their worst and far from ideal for cycling. Now, the good news is that riders like Van der Poel, Van Aert and Pidcock have proven over recent years that a winter built around short, one-hour efforts is not detrimental to summer form, but actually, in many ways, it seems like it improves their overall form and their overall capabilities as bike racers.
I've got to say, that is true. And I guess you look at Jay Vine is a classic example. And to a degree, well, he didn't even win the Zwift Academy until just before Christmas. So, well, I guess that wasn't holding him back. And then he, well, competed and nearly won a stage of the Vuelta.
Exactly. He's doing very well in long races despite a winter inside on Zwift. Although there is a flaw in that theory in that Vine was in Australia during the Zwift Academy. So obviously it was his summer and not winter.
Yeah.
But the premise is the same. Shorter and more intense rides do work. And you even see that with commuters, don't you? Who ride maybe 2 times a day up to 5 times per week.
I mean, Sai, classic example.
He is a classic example, isn't he? And you can always add endurance at a later date when the weather gets better in the summer.
Yeah, true. And I guess if you're doing those rides outside, you'll keep yourself warmer as well. That was something I used to struggle with. When it's really cold and then you slow your heart, you know, you just
not
can't,
producing
yeah,
enough
you just
heat.
can't warm yourself up on those
Because it's
long
lower
rides.
intensity, exactly. You're coming around to the concept a little bit now.
A
aren't
little
you?
bit.
More persuasion? Right. You'll even be warmer though if you're off-road, because there, firstly, you are riding slower.
Yeah.
So there's not as much wind going in your face and into your body. There's also more trees normally, so you're protected from it anyway. And you are using more of your body to control the bike, therefore producing more heat in the first place.
And I guess you'll even be warmer though if you're training indoors. And actually the winter time is the best time for that because you can do those intense indoor sessions indoors. And I guess it's even cooler when you're in the shed, you know, in the garden shed where it's a bit colder outside.
Well, it works from that point, doesn't it? Because otherwise you can really overheat indoors if it's the summer. You know, in summary, the benefits of shorter rides in winter are that you get stronger, faster, fitter, you're warmer outside and cooler inside, you get less bored, your bike and kit doesn't get as much of a battering from the grimy, muddy roads, and you can still feel all your extremities at the end of your rides. Convinced?
I mean, I take your points and they're all really valid, but I just love a long ride. And I feel like I've got to do a long ride at least once every 2 weeks. I just need it.
But you can do short rides the rest of the time. I think that's fair enough. You know, some people do live for longer rides. That's what they get out of cycling. At the end of the day, you've got to do what you enjoy most on the bike. However, for those of you who are killing yourselves because you think you've got to do hours and hours on end in the winter, you don't have to, do you? You can be just as good on the bike and more happy both on and off it with shorter rides.
Yeah, so there you are. That is Dan's view, and to be honest, I'm nearly convinced. But are you, or do you only get in kit if you're doing over 4 hour ride, like a pure endurance junkie? Or conversely, could you be happier, fitter, healthier if you're doing those short rides? We want to hear from you.
Let us know your thoughts and your stories in the comment section just down below. And next week on the show, we'll read out a number of them on both sides, I think, because different people get different things out of cycling, don't they?
Yeah.
GCN Inspiration now, 3 prizes on offer every single week, and all you need to do to put yourself in with a chance of winning one is upload your inspirational cycling photo or video to the GCN app. Without further ado, in 3rd place this week, winning a GCN Elite Fly water bottle is...
Mark for this photo. Yeah, now this was taken in Ireland, and he's kind of put the caption, "It doesn't always rain in Ireland," but I disagree because every time I race there, it's always rain.
Well, proof's in the photo, hey?
Well,
there's no rain evidence there at all. It looks like a stunning day. But they are quite rare, I will admit. Rains most of the time, if not all of the time. Well done to you, Mark. Meanwhile, in 2nd, getting themselves a GCN Pursuit green t-shirt and an Elite Fly water bottle, is Lawrence Adam. This summer I was lucky enough to ride for 43 days in 9 countries in the Balkan region in Europe through the most epic landscapes I've ever seen. Montenegro, with its epic tunnels and rugged landscapes, is one of my favourite countries, a perfect place for mountain bike lovers to ride a bike. Wow, that is a just swore then. Wow, that is a lovely photo. I'm a big fan of that one.
I mean, it was so good, you nearly swore about it. I loved it.
We just had to retake.
Yeah, no, really good. Beautiful. I just wonder how you took that photo. You must have been riding with a mate. I like it a lot. But in 1st place, winning a GCN Core Red hoodie and also a GCN water bottle and a maintenance guide. So that's a big prize package there, isn't it?
It is. They're always good first prizes these days.
Yeah, no, for sure. Is Luis Lemuse. With the caption, "To change things up a bit, we decided to start our ride later than usual and ride 88 kilometers around Aguascalientes." You said it right?
Aguascalientes, yeah.
There we go.
That's where the velodrome is, where Ashton Lambie recently set that sub 4 minute, 4 kilometre pursuit, and where we had the hour record a few years ago as well.
Fact of the month, I like it. With the sunset in the 1st hour and the darkness of the rest, it was a great experience and he highly recommends it. And I gotta say, I quite like that picker.
Well, I hope you quite like it because it's the winner of the top prize this week.
It's not the sunset, it's not the sunrise.
No, it's the darkness.
It's the darkness with the whole load of motion.
Yeah,
So,
you feel like you're going faster at night, don't you, on the bike? Something about the way the
it's a
light
bit like
goes,
running when you're
lack of
drunk,
light
isn't
goes.
it?
I wouldn't know that. I've never run whilst being drunk.
I feel like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, Luis Lemuse is a long-time GCN viewer and I think a former pro rider himself. So quite nice that he's got the top prize this week and it's well deserved because that is a stunning photo. As mentioned, please get involved in the app ready for next week's show.
Do you know what's funny? As pro cyclists, we're all really bad at maintenance, so I'm glad he's getting the maintenance.
I'm not that bad at maintenance. I will have
Challenge
you know.
accepted. We'll get you on the Maintenance Monday show, don't you worry,
I
Dan.
was the original
Oh, yeah.
GCN Tech maintenance presenter, Hank. And yes, I did have to have quite a lot of help, but I did do some mechanical videos and roadside maintenance
Clip
videos.
of Dan in the Maintenance show.
Oh, look how young.
There you go.
Very
Finished
young.
GCN Inspiration.
How to remove and replace bicycle pedals. It might seem like a very simple job, but it's one where you can easily get confused.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and let's start off with news of father and daughter who recently rode their penny farthings from San Francisco to Boston in just 57 days.
Which is a total distance of 3,314 miles, so 58 miles a day on a penny farthing. This is Randy Olenek and his daughter Amy, and when they arrived in Boston, they decided they hadn't had enough, so they then rode from the north of the US to the south, from Michigan to Florida, giving them a total of 6,100 miles. Now, you've ridden a penny farthing, Hank, haven't you? And I know you couldn't walk for a number of days after riding one for an hour, not helped by the fact that you didn't have a saddle by the end of it. But this, nevertheless, must fill you with fear.
Yeah, I gotta say, Dan, I'm really feeling a little bit uncomfortable now. I mean, that was so painful.
It was. Well, should we remind ourselves
No,
of how painful it was?
absolutely
We're going to do
not,
that now.
Oh, easy. Well done, Mitchie, well done. Well done, dude. Bloody good effort. Well done. Get some water. I need to get a new saddle.
Oh, I'm literally trying to bury that. I'm in the sphere of YouTube.
Hank genuinely almost just shed a tear by reliving that moment with that clip. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, hats off to Randy and Amy, because that really is quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, moving on now, thankfully. And dozens of cyclists recently took the streets of Yemen's capital to call for peace in the war-torn country.
Yeah, there's been a civil war over there now. It's been raging for over 7 years. And the cyclists there hope that this ride can demonstrate that cycling shouldn't be confined to one province within the country, but it can be a sport which displays peace around the entire country.
Now here's hoping the power of the bicycle wins through on that front. Now last week, Dan and Manon talked about a funding page that had been set up to help the evacuation of female cyclists from Afghanistan. And that time, it had raised $25,000, but now it's up to $66,000, which is, well, 2/3 of $100,000, which was the aim. I mean, that's insane, isn't it?
It's a lot of money, yeah. So big thanks to anyone who donated off the back of last week's show. It's been incredibly tough for everybody in that country over the last couple of weeks, so your help, I know, will mean the world to all of them. Let's move on to slightly more positive news now, and the Paralympic cyclist Steve Bate has set his sights on a new world record.
He has, and he is already the first visually impaired person to scale El Capitan. And next year, he's aiming to ride across Africa and take the record with him.
He is, and it's not just any record,
Unreal.
is it? It's a record that is currently held by your good mate,
The great
Mark Beaumont. And when you see that name at the top of the record books, you know it's going to be a tough one to beat.
trust me, you do.
But Mark being Mark, he's already actually been supporting Steve in his preparation for this record, and his hope, Steve's hope, is to do 250 miles a day using Mark's method, which is 4 lots of 4 hours per day.
Yeah, now that is tough. Steve is lucky that he's not doing it on the back of a tandem with Mark, though, because that, I can tell you,
quite hard.
is incredibly hard. But sticking with Africa, we recently became aware of the halfway cycle ride, which aims to raise money for Life Song Kenya,
whose mission is to help boys that are impacted by the Kenyan juvenile justice system through their own model of restorative justice, which includes reconciliation, mentoring, and also education. So the founder of the event is James Alman. It's now in its 4th year, and what they found is that lots of people are willing to give support to charities that help out women and girls, but not so many are willing to help out boys. And that's partly due to the stigma attached to the prison system. Now, the ride is 1,700 kilometres from Yimbo Usen to Tanga Town in Tanzania, and their aim is to raise $15,000. What you can do to help is either join in the ride yourself to raise money, or you can sponsor one of the riders who is taking part.
Yeah, and in other news, No Pins has joined forces with Petronas Sepang Racing Team, making some custom kit. It will be launched ahead of the Silverstone MotoGP, where the team's legendary rider, you named it, Valentino Rossi, will be making his last competitive appearance on UK soil.
You will be, yeah. They're only going to be making 100 units of that
you've got to get
custom
in quick,
kit.
don't you,
Yeah,
Dan?
so you've got to get in very quick
Yeah.
if you would like some. On to a bit of racing news now, and the Legion of Los Angeles team have taken their Criterium winning form into road stage racing. They took the opening stage of both the men's and women's Joe Martin stage race last week.
It was Tyler Williams who won the opening stage of the men's race. He go on to win the GC as well, ahead of Gage Hex and Oscar Sevilla. And it was the same for Skylar Schneider in the women's, who took the GC after never finishing outside of the top 10 on any stage. Unreal, isn't it?
Top 4 on any stage. In fact, she was incredibly consistent.
There you are.
Impressive stuff. All right, let's finish cycling shorts now with Hank. So after Connor and Manon before him, Hank's been taking on the Rouvy Challenge, whereby you can test yourself against the pros by riding some of the key climbs from the Vuelta España.
Yeah, I actually got my top off on that one. So
you tend to whenever you get the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I did the Pico Viejas, which is where Roman Bardet took his win. My time was 48 minutes and 50 seconds, and as things stand, only 3 riders have gone quicker, so I'm pretty happy about that, if I'm honest.
3 rides on Rouvy, though, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Vuelta España peloton
I don't know.
went slightly
Don't hold your
quicker than that.
Yeah, true. Anyway, though, if you'd like to knock me down a couple of pegs on that leaderboard, well, we'll put the link in the description below, won't we, Dan?
Yeah, so that you can get involved.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky to be top 25 in that classification, I reckon. Maybe even top 100 by the end of this week. Anyway, talking of getting involved, we've got a giveaway for you this week, courtesy of Rouvy. The prizes being a subscription each to the GCN Club.
Yeah, 5 of them are available. You'll just have to follow the link in the description below and answer a simple question to be in with a chance of winning. Speaking of the GCN Club, Dan, did you wear GCN socks with no shoes at the breakaway?
Why did I do it? Well, it was effectively in defence of the humble sock, which has now been cast aside seemingly, not only by triathletes, but also by the likes of Adam Blythe, Nico Roach, Bradley Wiggins, and Orla Shenry.
All of them?
Quite often. I mean, they barely ever wear socks between them. So I am aiming to stop socks going extinct.
Fair play, Dan. You've got your work cut out with those guys, haven't you?
Well, I mean, the socks on display were very nice. Vuelta España socks from the GCN Club from last year, or maybe even the year before. So
maybe
we'll see.
Give Brad and Adam some GCN Club socks. Maybe that'll help.
They literally seem allergic to socks. Well, sockettes apparently they have.
Well, the little ones.
Yeah, the invisible socks beneath your shoes.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of them?
Sometimes.
Hack / bodge of the week. Now that was a backward slash you just did. You did correct it though, well done. First up this week comes in from Taylor Preisler, custom frame bags. For my Super 6 Evo, my wife is a very talented seamstress. She taught me the basics and I got to work building these bags. They turned out better than I could have imagined. I'm very excited to put them to good use and I'm not surprised. Better than imagined. I mean, they look better than some of the bags you can buy.
I mean, they do look pretty insane. They are.
I mean, colour coded and everything. I mean, that looks incredibly neat.
I always find it quite difficult to find bags that fit properly because I ride quite a small bike.
And equally difficult to make your own.
I should be able to make my own, actually.
Well, not like that. That is stunning. That's a definitive hack from me.
Absolutely. 89% of you all on the app said
Who
hack
are
too.
the 11% that said that is a bodge? Have a long, hard look at yourselves. Right, moving on. Next one comes in from Hian Paris. What's this all about?
Now, this is my kind of bike, if I'm honest.
Yeah, my kind of table.
This is the bike table, and he saw it at a cafe.
Phuket in Thailand, yeah.
Yeah. Saw it at a cafe in Phuket in Thailand and thought it was a very interesting to repurpose an old bike and make it into a table and chairs. If I'm honest, I really like it.
I really like it as well, and so did 90% of you. I think Hank and I are both going for hack on that one.
Yes.
A higher percentage of hack for that than the self-built and self-made bike bags of earlier, but only just. Next up, Ziffy 1923 custom knee pads. Bought my first road bike weeks ago and spent all the money on the bike and forgot to buy protection for learning to ride clipless pedals. Had to improvise from all the packaging foam and bubble wrap my online orders came with. Economical and environmentally friendly.
When I first saw this picture, I was thinking ice hockey. I was thinking, you know.
Well, the clue should be in the Global Cycling Network.
Well,
show.
no, well, that is true, but I've never thought of putting knee pads on when you don't need to ride clipless pedals, but now I think it's probably
Well, we were
worth
both
it.
young when we learnt to ride clipless pedals. So firstly, you adapt to it quicker, and secondly, you bounce off the floor easier, don't you? But
Yeah.
if you get into clipless pedals at a slightly later age, I can see why you'd want some protection, but nevertheless, I'm still deeming that a bodge.
Next one.
84% instantly said that was a bodge.
Definitely a bodge, yeah. Next one, though. Well, why don't you talk us through this one?
Well, SGT Slow wrote in saying, I was in Halfords the other day and saw they were selling an in-house energy gel brand. I've got to say, 0 out of 10, absolutely rank. Yeah, as you can see, it's not an energy gel, it's screen wash.
Yeah, so
but I mean,
next time.
you do have to look twice
Yeah.
at the packaging, don't you? Because that is exactly the same as an energy gel wrapping.
So-
And in fact, £2.50 each. If they were 99p each, I'd be like, wow, these energy gels are cheap.
So
Buy
next
a
time you go
whole
into
load.
Halfords, do not take
Mistake
the
them.
gels.
No.
It's just not worth it.
Amazingly, 29% of people decided that is a hack. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a hack or a bodge, really, is it, that one? It's just something
It's a hack for your car.
for your car that looks like something you might use on the bike.
Yeah. Next up, we have got one in. I'm trying to work out who's this from.
M. Lustosa.
Lastosa, who has got a budget aero water bottle. I put the base of a £4 aero bottle in a base of a cell phone holder, drill a hole in the same size of a straw to top side, and now I'm able to hydrate myself in an aero position during those long rides, a bit like a triathlete. And yes, now I'm looking at the picture, it totally makes sense. Just a drilled hole to put a straw in. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
It's always handy to look at the picture, isn't it, in hack or bodge? Sorry, Hank. No, the picture tells me everything I need to know now. I see what he means. I am still going to go with bodge for that one. I think a neater job could have
total
been
bodge.
done. Maybe all standards have been set by our opening hack of the custom bags, but nevertheless, I'm going bodge.
And that straw is quite small, so can you imagine when you're riding, 400 watts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Anyway.
having to put more effort into sucking the straw than you are into going forward. You going bodge?
I'm definitely going bodge.
We're in the
That's not
majority
even
then,
a
Hank.
question.
72% of people went with bodge for that one.
Yeah, there we are.
Last one comes in from Lizzie Rogers. Spotted this bike outside the liquor store in Boulder, Colorado, and slightly concerned about the owner riding it home. I had to take a photo and submit it myself because my husband is a GCN superfan. But you're not, Lizzie. Don't tell us that. But has never been featured on the GCN show. Well, he still hasn't because it's you being featured, Lizzie. Hoping I can beat him to it with this crazy piece of Frankenstein bike madness.
I've actually
You
made
beat
one
him
of
to
them.
it.
I made one of those bikes, those tall bikes.
I remember you
Yeah.
making one.
But that one looks like an e-bike.
Wow, yeah, an e-tool bike.
Yeah, that I couldn't beat with a box underneath.
I hate to say it, but yours look better than that one.
Oh, thanks, mate. It's bodge from me, this one.
And a bodge from me as well, and a bodge from 83% of you. Don't forget that next week's hacks and bodges for the GCN show are already up on the app for you to vote on. But if you'd like to get involved ready for 2 weeks' time, you can submit your photos there.
It's now time for Caption competition and your chance to win a GCN Elite Fly water bottle.
You've taken the intro to that to the next level, Hank. You're very pleased about that.
I caught it.
Yeah, fourth time lucky.
Yeah. And I think you were going to introduce the picture from last week, aren't you?
Well, last week's was Rafael Mike at La Vuelta España in a feed zone, and the winner is Connor Pollock with Caption, Rafael, you've just won a GCN Elite water bottle in red. Happy days. Well done, Connor. Get in touch with us on Facebook with your address. We'll send that out to you. This week's photo comes from the first stage of the Benelux Tour. This is Tim Malier celebrating after winning. I will get you started. Help! I've got a wasp inside my skin suit!
Yeah. Good one, mate. Talk about wasps.
Man on the side normally laugh. Better than that.
It wasn't that funny. But talk about wasps. I once was filming and I got a wasp in my mouth and it stung my tongue. And then I was talking, so when you say wasps, trust me, it ain't nice.
You don't want one in your mouth.
Yeah,
well, at least
yeah.
it's only in your skin suit. As long as it doesn't go too far down, you should be all right.
Well, that's it. Fingers crossed.
Get involved by leaving your caption and comment section just down below. We'll pick our favourite next week to receive the GCN Elite water bottle.
And please, let it be better than Dan's.
I don't know what you mean.
It's awful.
We'll rattle off 4 of our favourite comments now before we get on to what's coming up on the channel over the next week. Starting with this that was written under the next evolution of gravel bike tech with Cy. Mark wrote in saying, I just want to recognise what a solid presenter Sai is. I feel like his videos are always great. He's off work at the moment, but Sai had the time to put that comment into the script here to read it out. He is a solid presenter, I will admit that.
But we don't want to make his head any bigger.
No, I'm starting to regret reading that out.
Yeah, on another video where the guys rode the hardest route that Strava could create, which was a pretty hard route. I've done harder, haven't I, Dan? Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, Bob wrote Ollie would have finished it and probably dropped a Tour de France winner along the way. Right. Ollie's going to have a massive head now.
Well, I mean,
can't put that
who wouldn't if they dropped Alberto Contador? We even considered dropping the Ollie getting dropped jokes, but we're not going to.
No.
We're not going to, despite his amazing efforts. Meanwhile, on the same video, GHWMR, picking the hilly route in my part of the Netherlands does not really add to the challenge. No, it can be a challenge to find hills in the Netherlands, can't it? That's the challenge in itself. You can get the VAM, the climb that goes up a rubbish tip that's been...
Yes, I've raced up that.
Have you? Successfully?
Twice. It's actually quite hard.
Yeah, well, it's not easy. That's true. I think I've raced up it a couple of times before as well. And finally, under good habits for cyclists, Leslie Reisner wrote, I read that the Swedes do something called plogging, which is just picking up one piece of litter when you're out on a walk. So on a ride, if I find an empty beer can by the road, I bring it home as our beer store takes them for charity donation. One piece of litter per ride can add up. Should we get plogging trending and cycle rides? Just find one piece of litter on your ride and take it to a bin or take it home, put it in your own bin. I love that idea. Anyway, coming up on the channel this week, we unfortunately can't give you too many details about the video that's coming out tomorrow, but I can tell you it is very exciting and it involves tech, but it is embargoed, so we can't tell you right now what it is. On Thursday, no doubt talking about that tech, we've got the tech show with Ollie and Alex. And on Friday, 10 things that you need to start road racing.
Yeah, and on Saturday, the guys are off at Eurobike and we've got hot tech on the tech channel. And on Sunday, well, another massive ride, you know, moving away from your shorter rides.
Yeah, going to a double century.
Rides. Yeah, double century where Ollie and Connor rode to the Isle of Wight, around it, and all the way back.
I heard about this ride, and they basically crossed a dual carriageway very near to my house, where on the map it looks like a really nice country road that you can just get across the dual carriageway. But in reality, you actually have to walk, you have to walk across the dual carriageway and over the central reservation, and then walk over the next dual carriageway, both of which are very busy, particularly at this time of year. Anyway, I presume they didn't go the same way back. They did.
Yeah.
Went the same way back, had to walk over the dual carriageway, over the other side, before they could continue on their way.
And that is Ollie and Connor for you.
Apart from that, I'm sure it's a thoroughly entertaining video. Meanwhile, on Monday, I'll be back with the Racing News Show to wrap up La Vuelta a España and all the other races going on this week. Speaking of which, on GCN Plus, it is a bumper week of racing. Not only have we got the last week of La Vuelta, we've also got the Benelux Tour, which started yesterday and continues through to Sunday, which is also the day that the Tour of Britain starts, featuring people like Mark Cavendish, Wout van Aert and Julian Alaphilippe, amongst many other stars. So make sure you check them out. As ever, there are some territory restrictions, so make sure you check what is available where you are. And also on GCN Plus, we've got another film coming out this week where we follow cycling chef Alan Murchison, who puts 3 amateur cyclists through their paces.
8-week nutrition plan.
Is it an 8-week nutrition plan?
It is.
I haven't watched it yet, but I look forward to seeing that one.
No, it's a good one.
Right, we better wrap things up because we're recording this on the day of the GCN show coming out because it was bank holiday on Monday, so the editor needs to get working. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.